right next to the beach because I'm going to get jealous.
They're saying I'm in Michigan and we got hit overnight.
Oh, yes. You guys suffer from the same weather as we do. But you know, on a positive note, in places like Toronto or Michigan or Detroit or Boston, we are kind of used to it. So the city is kind of equipped. But a week ago, it snowed in Houston, Texas, and everything came into a halt. My friends were there, and the restaurants were closed. Even simple coffee, getting simple coffee was almost impossible. The whole city came into a halt because they don't expect it. They don't put anything in their budget to salt the roads or things like that. But we know we get it, so we have to be ready for it. Today's topic is going to be really cool. It's something we voted on last week. I'm going to talk about something. I'm going to give you some information, and then we're going to have a quiz. And what is the gift for the quiz, guys? What are we giving away? We are giving the diamond spicules for the body. And the topic of today's topic is about cellulite. That is the big C. We don't want, especially, unfortunately, females suffer from it a little bit more than men. Men will have it too, men will get it, but it is not as prominent in men as it is in females. So where do we start? Are we ready? We have enough people to start?
They're saying can't wait to hear if there's anything we can do for cellulite.
Oh, you can do a lot. Trust me on that. Don't believe all these statements that nothing can be done. It is what it is, etc., etc. I don't believe in it, and I tell you, science doesn't believe in that either. So, in general, for every problem that we may have, there is a solution. Sometimes we have not discovered it yet or not. But trust me, for every problem, there is a solution. So let's get started. We're going to talk about cellulite. And I want to hear lots of questions. I want to tell you, ask the questions. You want write your questions down. Let us know what you want to need more, to learn more. And tell me if you want me to get more in depth into the science of things or you want me to keep it more on the surface. So we're going to go talk about cellulite, and I put this picture here for a reason. Because there is a simple test that you can do on your thigh, on your arm, to figure out if the condition of your skin and the structure underneath it is becoming kind of predisposed to formation of cellulite, or you already have it, or you're doing okay, you don't need to worry about it. Basically, you put your hands on your thighs. If you have to do it on your arms, somebody else has to do it because then we will be short of one hand. So you basically squeeze the region together and press down and towards each other, down and towards each other. And if you get that exaggerated rippling effect, the orange peel look on your skin, that means that basically you have cellulite. Sometimes it gets very bad. You don't even have to do this. You can just look in the mirror and you say, "Oh, I have it." But if you don't see, then you do this, means that it is kind of forming underneath, and you need to start doing something about it to stop it from getting worse. And if you already have it and it's not in a good shape, trust me, listen to the presentation today. You know what you can do about it. And then for people that are gonna log in, I'm gonna I haven't created that table yet, but I promise I created that table after for all those key ingredients that you can use in a natural way to combat cellulite. So let's go and talk about this and say, well, what is happening here? Now, if you look at the structure of the skin, think about it as a cake, okay? Don't think about it as something that is complicated. It's relatively easy if you don't scare yourself, okay? It's simple. Just tell yourself it's simple. You have the upper layer of the skin. Now, think about it as a cake or a mattress. So this is the sheet on the top, and then you have the cover, and then here are the epidermal cells. Underneath it here, now we have collagen and elastin. And listen, this has many functions. One of the functions that it has that is more of a protective layer, and it keeping everything in shape at the bottom. So it kind of creates, provides a structure for what's underneath it. And then underneath this is the fat cells. And then in the past, it was believed that you're born with the same number of fat cells and that's it, but now the science is suggesting that the number of your fat cells are more or less consistent. It can increase, so it's not that if you get rid of the fat cells, no fat cells are going to be created. But more or less, we have always the same number of fat cells, okay? But what happens is that these fat cells can be, say, like tiny little bubbles, and they're in very uniform form, which is when we are young. And when we gain weight, when these fat cells create more fat in them, then they become bigger and like from a small bubble to a big balloon. Underneath the fat cells, we have the reserved fat cells, and then we have the muscles. And here, you see these little posts. Those are connective tissues that kind of, between the layer that is on the top and these, we are providing a nice structure for these fat cells. Imagine you have all these bubbles, and then you're putting them in a nice little compartment to give it a nice shape and keep them in place. Now, what happens as we start aging is that this structure here starts getting to be compromised, and it loses its shape. It cannot support the fat cells as well. You're going to get fibrosis, hardening of these connective tissues right here. And then, so they become very rigid, they're not flexible. And then these fat cells start making too much fat, and this too much fat makes these fat cells grow bigger. And then now you have chaos under your skin. What happens is that you have no structural supports from the top, you don't have structural supports at the bottom, and these things are getting bigger and bubbles are getting bigger. So this starts forming the ripple effect that's forming here. It starts showing under your skin. And then you say, oh, you look in the mirror and say, oh, I have cellulite, and it's not smooth, it's not uniform anymore. Now, remember the things that we talked about. What are the key things? There's the collagen here, there is the bigger bubbles here, and then the structural integrity is compromised. So every one of these things, we have capabilities to go after and try to correct them. Now, but the situation now gets a little bit more difficult, and let me summarize again what happened. We lose the elasticity, we get those enlarged fat cells here, right? So the elasticity from this top is gone because of the less collagen, elastin, and then we have bigger fat cells. In females, this is due to estrogen decline, and in males is mostly because of the testosterone. Okay? Not only the fat cells are making more fat, but sometimes the balance also gets very off, because in an ideal situation, you're making so much fat, and so much fat is breaking down. Now, sometimes you make more fat, you're still breaking down, so the increase in the volume is not that crazy. But what happens in a very bad situation is that the cells are making a lot of fat, and then the mechanism that's breaking down that fat is also slowing down. That is really the worst possible scenario, where those fat cells start enlarging. And then we talked about the fibrosis of the connective tissue, the stiffness. And then on top of that, when we go here, you have lymphatic system that is not showing in here, and this lymphatic system is important for detoxifying your skin and keeping the homeostasis of your epidermis in shape, in form. And then also it helps with the water retention, controlling that water retention. When your lymphatic system starts suffering, then you're gonna get water build up in between these fat cells, and it's gonna make your cellulite look even worse. So it's combination of enlarged fat cells with entrapped moist water in between those fat cells. So in summary, this is what happens when we have cellulitis. Now we don't want to talk about cellulite without talking about a problem. We don't want to talk about a problem without having a solution. So let's go and talk about the solution. Oh, I don't want to forget about this. This is why I make the slides, because if I want to say everything I want to say to you guys, I'm going to forget some of the stuff. So look, cellulite is not appealing in terms of the aesthetics. It's not very appealing. We like to have a nice, smooth skin. Sometimes the skin is not smooth. It may not be appealing, but it's quite healthy, and there's nothing wrong with it, okay? So it's just an aesthetic thing. But cellulite is actually damaging to the skin. It causes a lot of inflammation, and inflammation, I always talked about it, Manuela always talks about it, it causes inflammation. The inflammation causes aging. So inflammation is stressful on the environment, on the cellular structure, and the cellular structure starts falling apart, and it goes through aging process much faster. So what happens is that two important things happen. Don't want to get too scientific, I don't want to lose you, but these two little things remember. Number one, the fat cell starts secreting pro-inflammatory bioactive molecules. They're called chemirins, okay? And they cause inflammations. The larger the fat cells get, the more of this they produce. They don't know why, but somehow they know large fat cells produce more inflammatory molecules. Then fat cells also produce some good stuff, and those good stuff are anti-inflammatory. And those things, we call them adiponectin. Now, what happens when the fat cells get bigger, they make less of the good stuff and more of a bad stuff. So it's a double whammy. So then inflammation becomes even stronger, because we are reducing things that are controlling inflammation, and we are increasing things that add to the inflammation. So that's why a lot of times cellulite on the skin is affiliated with the symptoms of inflammation and redness and discomfort. Now, we have some heroes here, and we're going to talk about the heroes, okay? There are two products that we really like, and we designed them specifically for the look of the orange peel skin, to make your skin look smooth. And I'm going to tell you scientifically why we designed it and what are the ingredients that we love and how these ingredients work. So one of them is our glutathione antioxidant body cream, and the other one is our diamond peptide speculum body cream. But I'm going to go and one by one explain the ingredients, because we want to know, when you're looking at a product, you want to make sure you understand the ingredients, and you want to make sure that you don't just believe me. You just believe anybody that just tells you something. You want to know, if you write down what they say, or you listen to their presentation, or whatever it is that they have written you're reading, you should be able to go and find proper references for those things and make sure you can verify it. You can trust people, but you need to verify it. That's very important. So let's go and verify and say why our diamond spicules, for example, we believe it's really good for the appearance of cellulites, to correct it, make your skin look smooth and look younger, and fight that possible inflammation that may happen under your skin. We are using hydrolyzed sponge. Pay attention to what I say now, because this is going to be part of the quiz. Bing! Part of the quiz. Part of the quiz. Are you listening? Okay. 1% is 10,000 ppm. okay? 1% is 10,000 ppm. We use ppm or parts per million because there are some ingredients that are so potent that you don't want to go and measure them always in percent. You go to ppm. So let me give you an analogy. If you're using saffron, okay, saffron is the herb that they use in coloring the food, coloring the rice, but it's also very good for you. It's super expensive, and it's also very potent in its color and taste. So you don't use saffron in kilos. Saffron is used in grams, okay? So when you go to buy a saffron container, you cannot buy a 10-kilo bag of saffron. It's sold in grams. So the unit for saffron usually you compare in grams. Spicules are also so potent, we don't use them at percent levels. They go to parts per million levels. So this is what. So 1%, 10,000 ppm. I'm not going to repeat it. It's going to be part of the quiz later on. Okay, let's see who's paying attention. So we are using here hydrolyzed sponge, and we are using at 500 ppm. That's a really good concentration for a sponge, okay, for the spicules. So they enhance penetration of these other ingredients. That is very good. They also have micronutrients in them that when they go in the skin, they dissolve and they help nourish. But the whole mechanism, how these sharp, tiny spicules penetrate the skin, it fools the skin. So when you have this picture here, and these spicules go in, what it does, it creates micro trauma on the superficial layer of the skin while it is helping to penetrate the other ingredients in there. When the skin gets this micro trauma, then it says, ooh, something is not right. It starts creating more collagen. So the micro trauma always helps. That's why microneedling is believed to produce more collagen, because you're using those needles to puncture the skin. They're much bigger than the spicules. They're more painful, and also the possibility of infection from them is constant. It increases dramatically, because if they're not cleansed properly, they're not disinfected properly, sanitation becomes an issue. It can cause an infection. So we are causing microdose trauma in the skin. So now we are supporting collagen production. Okay? Now we have caffeine. That caffeine is lipogenic. It causes lipolysis in the cells. It supports. Remember, as I said, as we get older, the fat breakdown in the cells slows down, and we want to kind of support it and increase that fat lipolysis. And that's what caffeine comes in. It's very good. It's also very good for circulation and improving the microcirculation in the skin, because it's a vasoconstrictor, and when you do that, you improve the circulation in the skin. Now we have Centella asiatica that also is very healing. It's very good for scarring, and also it is very good for collagen synthesis. So now we're breaking down the fat, we're improving the collagen synthesis, and then we're trying to help the skin regenerate with raw stem cells, okay? And then the peptides again. So we are really creating a matrix here that is super strong in collagen synthesis, and also helps lipolysis at the lower levels of the skin. Soothing. Why soothing becomes very important? We are using things like allantoin and aloe, and these ingredients fight that inflammation that is forming under your skin, so it's controlling it, and it's fighting that inflammation under skin. And then the rose oil and olive oil, which is all for barrier repair. So in short, what all we are doing here, we are going to help this layer, we are going to go help on top layer, we are helping these guys get smaller, and all these together, this will help reduce the appearance of cellulite and you can expect really good results. Now, we talked about one of the heroes, but we can't leave the other hero out. So I created another chart for you. Some of the ingredients are the same. Some of them are a little bit different. So caffeine is very good there. It's always one of the best ingredients that you can use for cellulite treatment. L-carnitine is also it also helps the metabolism of the cell. It increases the energy. More energy, more of that fat is going to be used. Then we have Centella asiatica that I explained. It's collagen synthesis, improves elasticity, circulation, and repair. Coleus forscolin, it contains an ingredient forscolin. Forscolin was one of the supplements that if you take, it helps with weight reduction because it's lipogenic. Now, topical application of it, you're delivering it right to the fat cells there, and it goes through the same mechanism that it does. So basically, it's a great lipogenic ingredient. Horse chestnut is a great anti-inflammatory. You're suffering from cellulite, you need to control that inflammation. You need to control that water retention. And when you combine all these ingredients together, then you can expect a product that really delivers results. Glutathione is detoxifying the cell, and it's also a great antioxidant. We talked about the inflammation. You need the antioxidants to control the free radicals there. And also the detoxification of a cell, I always think about it as an old engine that needs to be degreased, because the engine is getting kind of, it's getting stuck in its own, it's becoming muscle bound, okay? We need to let it loose, and you let all those mechanisms within the cells to act properly and work in an optimized way. That's why glutathione, this master antioxidant, does a great job. Do we have any questions so far? I'm just talking. Okay, they're writing down all your questions. We're not gonna, because I can't see what you're writing. I'm a little bit far away from the screens. So we have a good team here. They're looking at it, and they're gonna tell me about all the questions. Then we have a very unique vitamin C, and this vitamin C is stabilized. It's in a peptide form, and then not only it penetrates deep, it acts as a collagen booster and a key antioxidant. So it works kind of synergistically with the glutathione. And then we have betaine in there that is amazing for the feel and soothing and the effect that you can expect on your skin. So altogether, when you're using key ingredients, if you look at the mechanism how this formulation has been made, is that it will go and tackle in multi-different ways. Supporting the structure, reducing and shrinking the fat cells, supporting the collagen on the top, and when you combine all these mechanisms together, then you can expect results. A lot of products out there, they just go after one mechanism. You may get some results, but it's not going to be as potent as when we take this approach. Now, I know this question is going to come up. Maybe you already asked it. You said, okay, I can use a cream. What else I can do? Well, listen, shrinking fat cells will be directly related to your diet as well. So if you have the proper diet, avoid the fast food, okay? Avoid fatty stuff. Use products that use food ingredients that are lipogenic. Forscolin was one of them. We talked about it. And also exercise. Exercise is important. But just exercise alone, unfortunately, will not be able to tackle it. Because you can have very skinny legs. Look at the marathon runners, okay? The best example, they exercise, and then if you do that pinch test on their skin, then you will see a lot of cellulite. Now, we have some technology, some instrumentation that can help. Vibration therapy is really good. So if you can have access to one of these machines, or ultrasound. Ultrasound is also very good for the, because it not only energizes the heat that it generates, it has a thermogenic effect on those fat cells. movement is important, right nutrition is important, massage can help, and the right ingredients. You combine these together, I guarantee you, you will have cellulite-free legs. Now let's get to the questions. How many diamonds we got? By the way, Manuela may be watching, guys.
She is watching.
Manuela is watching. Manuela is watching. You better give me a lot of diamonds because she can see them. I can't see them, but she can see them.
She said you were doing a great job.
All right.
All right, so first question. Is it because of the caffeine in the formula for the Spickle body cream that makes it so effective for cellulite?
No. One of the key components is caffeine. Remember, when I was showing you this diagram of the structure of the skin, I mentioned there are many reasons why these little bubbles that get bigger, these fat cells that get bigger, they intrude into the top layer. One of them is their size. Caffeine helps to reduce their size. But if this layer is not properly supported, even the smaller fat cells may push through and make that skin look uneven. So you need to really look after this part and then look after this part. In combination together, you will get the best results.
Is cellulite genetic?
It can be because the mechanism, how the cells actually, how much calories they burn and how much of that lipolysis is going to be stored, the lipolysis is going to be stopped, and how much of that fat is part of the genetic system. But that does not mean that we cannot fight it. That does not mean that, just because it's genetic, I cannot address it. Look, some people genetically, a simple example, they build muscles much better than others. Known fact, okay? But that doesn't mean the person that doesn't have the good genes, if they go to the gym and exercise and have the right nutrition, they cannot have really nice toned muscles. For some people it will be a little bit easier. For some people they have to work harder at it. That is where I believe genetics has an effect. But in terms of just because of genetics you cannot do something, I don't believe in that.
So this next question is it true that red light therapy helps with cellulite? And also, ultrasound therapy, how often should you do that?
Look, it depends on the strength of the ultrasound machine. We can have a show on that. If it's a medical grade, that should be under the advice of your physician. But if it's an ultrasound machine that's one of these handheld ones that you can buy from stores and it's for home use, I recommend that you use it every other day for 5 to 10 minutes. Follow the instructions on the machine itself, because every machine, the strength of the ultrasound is maybe a little bit different.
So this one's from Manuela. So she would like you to explain why heat and fat cells aren't good.
Heat and fat cells are not good. I kind of struggle with that, why heat and fat cells are not good. Manuela, explain that to me, because I always think that application of heat, unless it makes the lipolysis lazy, I always think that providing energy to the cells actually improve things in terms of the energy consumptions. But I want to see what Manuela has to say about it.
We will move on to the next question, and when she answers,
Okay.
we will come back. So this next question is, does mineral oil with vitamin E work for cellulite?
Absolutely not. No, listen, the mineral oil I want you to become the thinker, okay? So I want you to think. Let's go back to here. If I put a mineral oil on here, what does mineral oil have on it? It's just long chain hydrocarbons that basically sit on top of the skin. It's an excellent emollient, but doesn't penetrate and doesn't help the circulation, doesn't help the lipolysis, so technically no effect. Vitamin E can penetrate, is a good antioxidant, so it may help with the inflammatory part of it to some extent, but it is not potent enough to do anything on its own in terms of really addressing the size of these things or controlling the elasticity on the outer layer of the skin.
So Manuela has answered. She said that she doesn't like heat on fat cells because you can lose volume.
Oh, okay, but okay, more or less we were saying the same thing, because for addressing cellulite, you need to shrink those fat cells and reduce the volume. So, but I think what Manuela is saying is that if you do these things, see, this is the thing that you need to be careful, because there's a balance. So what I think Manuela is saying is that, okay, I'm not going to address the elasticity on the top, and I'm going to start just shrinking these things, then your skin may show a lot of wrinkling on top, because what you're doing, you're getting rid of the ripple effect, but the support for your skin is going away. So this needs to be shrinking. Whoops. This needs to be shrinking as this thing is getting stronger and more elastic, okay? Because another example I can give you, if somebody is overweight and then they start losing weight too dramatically, too fast, like say you're supposed to lose a few pounds a week at max, and they start dropping 15 pounds a week, okay? Then their skin is gonna sag, because the skin didn't have a chance to retract as that fat at that volume that was support the skin is going away.
So why can the spicule body cream be used every day, but not the face spicule serum?
Why the spicules can be used every day or not every day?
How come with the body cream, you can use that every day,
Mm-hmm.
but with the spicules for face, you're not supposed to use that every day?
Okay. First of all, the skin on your body and your face, in terms of the sensitivity, are a little bit different. And also, we formulated the body cream in a way, in terms of the concentration, which it is effective to do the job for cellulite, because we're going after that and the collagen production, but we're not making it super strong. So the concentration is not as strong as what we have in the spicules for the face. Because spicule for the face, we want to give it as a treatment, and the body cream is for daily use.
So, you kind of answered this one already, but would a lower saturated fat diet help stop cellulite?
It won't completely stop it, because remember, I want you to think, what were the two? Let's reduce it to two things. Reduce it down to two things. What are the two things? Enlarged fat cells, weakened support. Okay? Two things. Enlarged fat cells, weakened support. Let's forget about the lymphatic dredgement and circulation and things like that. So if you reduce the fat cells and not doing the support on top, then you're not going to get the best effects. That's why I think just reducing or losing weight is not going to do the job.
So castor oil and rose hip oil massages, is this good for cellulite, and is that something you can do every day?
Yes, those are two amazing ingredients. We talked about the benefits of the castor oil in the last presentation. If you didn't see it, you can go and watch it again. We keep a copy of all those. These are great anti-inflammatory and soothing ingredient, and massaging helps with lymphatic drainage and circulation. So combination of the castor oil and rosehip oil with massaging is very good for your skin and the cellulite.
So this one's also from Manuela. She was just commenting on how about the diet, how high protein, low salt, low sugar, and no refined or processed foods is the way to go.
Yes. So how many hard questions can I ask? One or two? One? Only one. Okay. So 1% is how many ppm? I want answers. The prize is How do they do their replies? Well, should they do?
Be comments.
Okay, leave comments.
First person to comment and get it right. So someone says 1% is 10,000.
Yay! We have a winner.
So Sweet Pea Cat from TikTok will be winning the Diamond Peptide Spicule Body Cream.
You have to call us and let us know how much you like it. I know you will like it, but I don't know how much you will like it.
And then before we finish up, we did get one more question. So someone wanted to know if dry brushing can actually help with cellulite.
Dry? Are you talking about the gua sha type of a thing?
When
or?
you take like a brush, like all the, and you literally just, it's like giving yourself a dry massage.
And I would not do the dry massage because it will put too much stress on your skin. It's better to do that with an oil. You know what? Listen, you want to improve the circulation here. Whatever you improve the circulation here, you reduce the water retention in between those fat cells. So it can give a kind of a short-term relief for the cellulite. But if you don't address the fat cells on its own, massaging cannot address it. That water retention is going to build up again. So it's kind of a short, quick way of addressing the appearance of it. But when you do it in long term in combination with the other stuff, you get very good results. But don't do it dry. Always try to put less stress on this area. That's why when it comes to facial muscles and things like that, I don't like the yoga facial exercises, because I think that even though they strengthen the muscles underneath, those actions that are so dramatic will put stress on the upper layer of the skin and causes wrinkles. So you get stronger muscles, but more wrinkles.
And so we just have one person joining late, and then this is going to be our last question. So they just wanted to know what you did say was the most effective to eliminate or minimize cellulite.
Most effective way is to use a combination approach. There's not one single way, okay? So the best way is to use ingredients that cause lipolysis in the fat cells, breaking down the fat cells, ingredients that promote microcirculations, ingredients that promote lymphatic drainage, and ingredients that are anti-inflammatory and collagen building. So when you combine all those approaches together, that is when you can get the best results. Now, you can take it even one step further and start using some of those instrumentation like the power plates or ultrasound techniques, the vibration therapy.
And that is our last question.
Don't forget to share, like, and what?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Share, like, and subscribe. And also, how many diamonds did we get? How many likes did we get? 5,000. Okay, not bad. Thank you. And how was the presentation? How did you rate the presentation? I need feedback, guys. I really need to know how I can make myself better for you guys, so you guys can follow what we are talking better. I want you guys to know, I want to know if I'm speaking too fast, if I'm speaking too slow, if I need to go more in depth, or if I'm going too far into the science of it, because I know in terms of the science of it, the gradual repetition will make you guys used to it. I know that. But in the process, I don't want to lose you. Me and Manuela, we don't want to lose you. We want to make sure that you stick with the program and you learn the most advanced science that exists out there to really look after your skin, your body, and your mind.
So we got some great feedback. Everyone says you're doing a great job. Someone suggested that we talk about KP. Another person suggested that we talk about pitted acne scars, so those deep acne scars.
That's a really good topic. Pitting acne scars. Okay. That will be the topic for next week. That's actually one of my favorite topics.
Manuela says 11.876 out of 10.
All right. That's great. Thank you. I wish you guys a great rest of the week and amazing weekend. If you're somewhere cold, stay warm. And if you're somewhere warm, I envy you because it's cold and snowing here. Have a great week. Talk to you next time.